Garcia ends the day with 4 hits and 4 RBIs. Garcia and Ayala. Weaver's surprising 1-2 punch drives in 6 of Baltimore's 8 runs. And 8 is enough for Scott McGregor. McGregor goes the distance, throwing only 96 pitches, of which 78 were strikes. And 8-4 comeback victory with unlikely Oriole heroes. Indicative, said John Lowenstein, of our style of play all year. Totally unrehearsed. Or in Weaver's words, that's exactly how we won the pennant. And as the fans flow to Three Rivers for Game 4, the Orioles are confident that no one can stop them now. On the other hand, the fighting spirit of the swashbuckling Buccaneers still sounds the familiar battle cry. And seldom has Pops Willie Stargell let his people down. In the second against Dennis Martinez, Stargell demonstrates his paternal power. Willie Stargell would be worth his weight in Pirate stars just for the spiritual lift he gives his team. Add 32 homers, his clutch hitting in the pennant stretch and playoff, and it's easy to see why he's the focal point of this World Series. The Pirates keep it going. John Milner singles, and Bill Madlock, who's found a home in Pittsburgh, wraps a ground rule double into the bullpen. Now there's runners at second and third.
A ground rule double. Oh, we missed a run. We'll get him.
Catcher Ed Ott is next. And he proves one good ground rule double deserves another. 2 runs come home, and Three Rivers roars on. The 4-run second is the earmarks of a runaway, but this series defies the predictable. The Orioles close the gap, and now it's Tanner's bullpen against Weaver's bench. In the early innings, Weaver saves his left-handed pinch hitters. John Lowenstein and Terry Crowley. But in the 8th, trailing 6-3, Weaver draws his hand. The bases are full of birds. Having used lefty Grant Jackson, Tanner must play his ace right-hander, Kent Tekulve. First, John Lowenstein pinch hits. Key blow number 1. Good for 2 runs, and Pittsburgh's lead is shaved to 6-5. An intentional walk loads the bases again. And now Terry Crowley pinch hits. Key blow number 2. Good for 2 more runs, a 7-6 Baltimore lead, and a genius rating for Earl Weaver. The shocked crowd is silent, and all the noise belongs to the Oriole dugout. The triumphant Birds finish with a 6-run 8th, aided by rookie pitcher Tim Stoddard's first professional hit. Weaver let him hit, and then he pitches 3 scoreless innings. 17 hits and a Pirate lead obliterated by Weaver's strategy and the Orioles' stout 9-6 comeback. Earl's comment, "I'll go home tonight knowing I did everything today that I wanted to do." The Orioles are up 3-1. The Pirates one defeat away from elimination. But the next day at Three Rivers Stadium, Pirate fans are eager, ready to go. Their faith still unshaken.
I think they just had the best ball club. So far, they proved they gave away the first game, and they won the second and gave last night. Well, I thought they had a possibility of coming back at any time.
They're maybe down 3-1, but they have a good enough ball club. They can come back. They're a good comeback team.
The Bucks are down 3-1, but they're going to win today, and the momentum will be with them. The momentum will take them back to Baltimore, and I look for them to take the next 3 games.
We're going to come back because we have the greatest ball team in the world.
We're going to pluck them today, and we're going to eat them tomorrow. That's what we're going to do.
Well, if that's what they're gonna do, they'll have to beat the Major's winningest pitcher, Mike Flanagan. 8-time 20-game winner Jim Palmer and crafty Scott McGregor, a seemingly impossible task. And who starts for Pittsburgh in Game 5? 37-year-old Jim Rooker, a 4-7 record, 8 weeks on the disabled list. But Bill Mazeroski, Pirate hero in the 1960 World Series, reminds Pirate fans miracles can happen. Rooker responds with 4 no-hit innings and only 1 run in 5. All I was hoping to do, said Rooker, was keep us in the ballgame. Exactly what he did. Meanwhile, Mike Flanagan was doing even better until the 6th, when the Bucks tied him. And then a decision to pitch to Bill Madlock untied him. Madlock's clutch single produces a 2-1 lead, and that old family feeling was rocking and a-reeling again.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Everyone can see we're together as we walk on by, and we fly just like birds of a feather. I won't tell no lie. All of the people around us, they say, can they be that close? Just let me state for the record, we're giving love in a family dose. We are family. Hey,
The long-awaited Pirate eruption finally happened as Baltimore's bullpen collapsed.
family.
A decisive 7-1 final, aided by 4 uncompromising relief innings from Bert Blyleven, his first bullpen work in 7 years. The Bucks were still alive and headed back to Baltimore. Game 6, Mary Dobkin, honored for her work in the Baltimore Youth League, shares center stage with baseball commissioner Bowie Kuhn. Pitching with sore ribs, a grim John Candelaria has early problems. Kiko Garcia at first after a leadoff single. Ken Singleton batting, and the volume is up again at Memorial Stadium. Runners at second and first, 1 out, and the dangerous Eddie Murray at bat. Candelaria, knowing he can't bring the heat, must now rely on his good breaking ball. And Bill Madlock does the rest. The Candyman completes 6 gutsy shutout innings, allowing only 6 hits and no walks. His opponent, Jim Palmer, is even more impressive, allowing no runs and only 4 hits through 6. For the second time in this series, Palmer is pitching well, and the fans are behind him. It's the 7th inning, 1 away.
Hang on, baby. Hang on, Jim. 8 outs, baby.
Omar Marino up.
Off for the table.
He finds a hole, and the National League's top base stealer is aboard.
Ain't nothing. Ain't nothing. Ain't nothing.
But Palmer knows Moreno's speed is a real danger, especially when Tim Foley is up to hit and run. A possible double play ball arrives with Moreno, confusing Garcia. Both runners safe. If that wasn't enough, Dave Parker's presence offers no encouragement to Palmer's predicament. Parker's smash fatally eludes Dower. The scoreless deadlock has been cracked as Moreno speeds home. The Pirates add one more in the 7th, and any hopes of Palmer keeping the game close are dashed in the 8th. Phil Garner, riding a 23-game hitting streak, bats without at first. And Scrap Iron strikes another key blow as the ball fools Ayala in left. A ground rule double. Ott stops at third. Garner at second. Bill Robinson gets Ott home with a sacrifice fly, and now the table is set for the man who started Palmer's woes. Omar Moreno sweet swings his 7th hit in the last 4 games. Garner scores as the seams unravel for Baltimore.
Oh!
And who should be there to neatly sew it up but Pittsburgh's Kent Tekulve, who smartly whips through 3 shutout innings. Fate may have played a hand on this one, but as Dave Parker said, we have some very unique individuals on this club. Yes, indeed. 4-0 Pittsburgh. A most impressive comeback, squaring the Fall Classic at 3 games apiece. A 3-1 deficit. Now a 1-game issue. Game 7. Preparation intensifies for the final battle. Every man searching for an edge. Past sundown, and just like an old Western, both sides line up for the final shootout. The fans are also primed, including a record television audience. President Jimmy Carter is also present. But the hometown cheers are conducted by Baltimore's #1 enthusiast, Wild Bill Hagee. Pirate starter Jim Bibby is pitching a scoreless game in the 3rd as Rich Dower steps up to the choral cry of Section 34.